Dave from Rhode Island says, to whom it may concern, Shane Douglas announced he was partnering with an anonymous investor, Bill Townsend, to form, well, not anonymous anymore, to form a new wrestling promotion, Classic Wrestling Revolution, in Las Vegas. Douglas claims CWR would be offering health insurance, revenue sharing, 401k and pension plans. I believe Roddy Piper was involved as a partner at some point as well. I'm curious if Shane could talk about his experience working with Townsend and why CWR seemed to fall off the radar. Just as you were saying, investors' time, perfect to invest in the business. But it's happened before so many times.
Yeah.
And Tony also, I think when he came in, he was promising health plans and all that kind of thing, and none of that's really materialized either. So specifically Classic Wrestling Revolution.
Well, Classic Wrestling Revolution was the working name initially. It became Revolution Sports after that. And we had, Bill Townsend had put together an amazing team. Former WWE officials, a human resources expert who passed away last year, Diana Ritchie, Glenn G.T. Taylor, a really prodigious producer and director out of Hollywood, Cristo Garcia, Juan Puerta, and Content Rules. The bones of this thing were coalescing and were being pulled together. I was extremely excited to the process, to the thought that I'm going to get to work with these people on a daily basis, because every one of them were so good at their job and knew it inside and out, and were rabid to being involved in this product, in this opportunity. The problem was, the only problem that we had was that in coming up with the finances, as I've often talked about on this show and others, starting a wrestling promotion is incredibly expensive. We could put on a show tonight for probably $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 and probably a pretty good show. But to now go out and get the television, to set up an office. I mean, as I recall, every time one of these things, because I was the COO of that company, as one of these things would come across my desk and I start to dig into it, I'm looking at crazy numbers for phone systems, computers, travel, hotels. Everything was a huge number coming in. And when you start to look at it, it forced us to refigure what we were planning on doing, because unless we had some multi-billionaire coming in just ready to write a blank check, we would have to prove proof of concept and prove that we could do this for the numbers of dollars that we were saying we could do them. And it wasn't cheap. I mean, it's fairly inexpensive to run an independent show, comparatively. But when you start talking about all these other things, and then health insurance for wrestlers, this to me was always the kick. It would flame your ass at the same time it'd make you laugh. Ask 99.9% of the population, ask the general population, give me one word to describe professional wrestling, and you're going to get what?
Fake.
It's fake, right? So now try to go get insurance. You're put in the same kind of a class as a guy that's in a straitjacket with no parachute, being dumped out of the plane, swallowing a sword at the same time.
You've been going to Lloyd's of London. I think that might be your problem there, if you're trying to get insurance.
Yeah, Lloyd's won't touch it anymore, trust me. But like the average, the day-to-day in America, health insurance, which has become insanely crazy, numbers-wise, cost-wise, as you're getting less and less for it. Most of the people, like you see this number, like 81 million are on the Affordable Care Act. The vast majority of those people cannot use it because there's a huge deductible to begin with. And so the family that's really, especially today with the price of inflation, just trying to keep their nose above the waterline. Okay, well, I have health insurance technically because I'm punished by the IRS if I don't. I'm penalized. So I have this insurance sitting there, but I really can't use it. Because if I go to the emergency room because I broke my leg or blew my knee out, that's going to be a couple $1,000 bill, probably $6,000, $7,000. And my deductible's $5,200. Well, so the average person really can't use it. So yes, you have health insurance, congratulations, but you can't use it. And so for us, this really became like a huge point because we felt very strongly. I should say, Bill Townsend felt very strongly when he brought the idea to me. And of course, my last 40 years of my life saw that why should this guy be penalized or this woman be penalized because she went out and he went out and busted his ass and got seriously injured and now can't work for 6 months. Well, we'll see what we can throw your way. It's really sad. Again, the black eye of our business, as great as our business can be, and as much money as our business can generate, somehow these things that I consider basic human rights, somehow get put off on, well, independent contractor, why didn't you get yourself insurance? And, now keep in mind, you may say $10,000 this week. Okay, so out of that 10,000, you're going to put about 4,600 aside for taxes. And then you got to pay your mortgage, and you got to pay for the hotel rooms, and you got to pay for your rental car and the gas and your food and all this other stuff, not only for you on the road, but your family at home. And now you got to pay for this health insurance that, you're going to have to put a boatload of money up to on the deductible up front. It really is a shame that our business, because we at that time, and don't hold me to the numbers, but at the time, the number that Vince McMahon was worth would have been less than 1 billion less. Now, you got to throw a billion around like it's a small number, but to a guy that's worth, say, $5 billion, might be worth 4.2 billion if he took care of his talent. I asked the question: is being worth 4.2 billion any worse than worth 5 billion? Yeah, you're gonna still eat steak and you're gonna be able to make your mortgage payment and pay your electric bill. So, but there's the right and wrong of it, right? Legally, we talked about the independent contractor point, but what about the morality, and what about the ethics of it? Which I think is a big portion of what has been going on with the Me Too movement, right? These women have been being abused for years, and now finally their voice being heard, and there's a backlash to it. I think, and I suggested to some of the attorneys that were involved in that lawsuit, that they should go public and talk directly to the Charles Schwabs and Merrill Lynch's and these institutional investment, railroad retirement, and say, do you realize you're putting money into a company that treats people like this? And that's where you would have changed that beast. But again, what would I know? It's we're at a place where I think we're seeing now guaranteed contracts more of a thing, but that's just, again, my guess is they're still being paid as independent contractors, and if not paid as employees. And so the average person out there that knows, I'm not talking down to you if you already understand this. The term employee is a legal term, as is independent contractor, and all the legalities that go with that. So once you say wrestler A, B, and C are my employees, that takes on a whole different world of subsets of things that Pandora's boxes that get opened. That said, we had worked very diligently on it. We were extremely close to finalizing, dotting the final I's and crossing the final T's on it. It wasn't easy, but we would have it there. And one final point, because it was I think in either your comment or the tail end of this question about AEW additionally saying they were going to offer the health insurance, and several of the real-time analytics and coaches. I'd ask the fans viewing out there right now, where have you ever heard those phrases before AEW? I heard them because I wrote them down in the business plan that was to be Revolution of Sports. So do the math.
Yeah.